Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nyma. If you are new here, if you're not, welcome back. So today I'm going to be testing out the new Milk Makeup Primer. If I sound a little funny, it's because I'm a little sick right now. My throat just sounds really bad and I'm a little bit stuffy still. So if you guys bear with me, I'd really appreciate it. This primer, actually heard a lot of really good reviews about it. A lot of people have said really good things. So I got super interested in trying it out. So that's what I'm going to be trying today. This video is actually in collaboration as well with Makeup Forever and their new Ultra HD Self-Setting Concealer. I love this concealer, you guys already know. I've featured it actually a few times on my channel. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump straight into this video. If you have not done so already, make sure you are subscribed and notified and join your girl. So with primers, you kind of want to use it with stuff that you've already been playing with, stuff that you already know how they wear. Some of the ones I'm already kind of obsessed with. I have the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base that I really like. The Sicily Double Tensure. That one's a really pricey one, but it's pretty good. I've actually just recently tried the YSL, the Tisha Clot Blur Primer. That one's nice. There's a whole bunch. So by this point in time, everyone already has their holy grail. So for a primer to come out and get this much buzz, I figured it was worth a try. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna read what the primer claims to do, and then we're gonna go ahead and jump into application. The primer is called the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. It says hemp derived cannabis extracts hydrate to plump and smooth for blissed out skin. I feel like there's this weird like cannabis / weed phase going on right now, and I'm not sure. I haven't really done much research into cannabis and why like it's so good for like skincare or anything like that, but I feel like there is a weird phase going on right now. Green tinted formula goes on clear to work across all skin tones and types, and then the directions are to pump 1 to 2 shots of the primer on the back of your hand. It says you pump it on the back of your hand. This is what the product looks like right now. Struggle nails are happening. Like I said, I've been sick, you guys, and if you guys are like me, I have a lot of stress and anxiety. That's just how I am. It's a part of my personality, so I take a lot of stress and anxiety out on my nails and all that goodness. So that's why they look kind of crazy today, because I've been sick and I haven't had time to go to the nail salon. That's what it looks like right there. If we're doing a thin layer, I don't think you need 1 to 2 pumps. Well, I'm glad it's hydrating. For me, I typically like to go towards more hydrating primers versus a more mattifying primer. Because I have dry skin. I think the worst mattifying primer I've ever tried is the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop primer. That thing is like cement. So we're gonna give it a minute to kind of dry down. It already feels like it absorbs pretty quickly though, so I don't think it's gonna need the full minute, but I'm gonna give it a minute anyways. It's been about a minute, so I'm going in with the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation. I haven't used this foundation in so long, so I figured let me use it today. Oh gosh. And this foundation does come off pretty red in the beginning. I forgot how red this foundation comes off, but it blends out really nicely. This one looks really red on camera. I was just dragging a foundation for being too orange just a few days ago. So that is our foundation on. It definitely, like I said, see, it kind of got a little bit better. It's not as red as it looked in the very beginning, because this foundation can definitely come off super red. So next we're going into the concealers, the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Self-Setting Concealer. I'm going to use the shade 54. Usually I use a lighter shade, but I don't think I'm gonna use it today. I'm just gonna use the shade 54. This concealer is super creamy. It's really nice and blendable, and it gives you a really nice natural coverage, so I really like that. And it's a little bit more on the watery, more liquidy side versus like a really thick, kind of like almost those pot concealers. So if you like a little bit more coverage, I tend to apply it first and then go in with everything else around my face and then come back and blend it all out. I don't know what this company is, honestly, but it's this really dark brown shade, and it's a foundation, so it doesn't get as cakey as the Ben Nye Beard Stipple that I used to use. I'll leave this down below in the descriptions for you guys. The only thing I don't like about it is it's super neutral, but with this red of a foundation, it's gonna be able to balance out really nicely. I'm going in with that just to kind of help contour my cheeks. The Makeup Forever Ultra HD Concealer does have have 22 shades. And I think with those 22 shades, you know how sometimes a concealer can be versatile for different skin tones? This kind of concealer reminds me of that because I can use the shade 54 and 53 because it's a little bit more on the liquidy side and it does give you medium coverage. Now, if it was a very full coverage concealer, it's a little bit harder to get away with it being able to be used by a few different skin tones. But this one is pretty good with that. I'm gonna blend this out now, and just letting it sit there for a little bit just gives you a little bit more coverage. So far, the primer doesn't look any different than what I've seen. I feel like it's not bad, but it's not great. Like, it's not really wowing me so far. The only thing that I can think of that is really similar to it might be the Sicily in the tacky factor of it. The Sicily one is one of the more tacky primers that I've tried, so that's the only one that I can say is kind of similar to it. So if it ends up being a dupe for that one, then that's a really good thing, because that Sicily one is like, is it almost $200? I don't even know, but it's hella expensive. The last video I did on this concealer, I actually did a full face with no powders whatsoever, and I didn't set it because this concealer, you can actually not use powder because it is self-setting. But today I'm gonna go ahead and powder it down a little bit. I'm gonna use the Dior Forever and Ever face powder, and I'm just gonna lightly powder it down because it really doesn't need all that powder. I like this powder because it really does not alter. It's very translucent. I'm gonna go ahead and do my brows off camera really quickly. Okay, so I did my brows and my eyes off camera just so we can focus on the complexion. I used the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette. I used the shade Bucked on my brow bone and then Endgame in my crease, and the shade Distilled and Dreamweaver on my lid. Pat McGrath Fetishized Mascara. I'm still caught up on the Film Noir blush, so I'm still gonna keep using that until I get bored. So I'm just gonna apply that on my cheeks. This is from MAC. For highlighter, I'm using the NARS Orgasm. It's supposed to be a blush, but I use it as a highlight. So far, the primer, okay. For me, the primer so far doesn't look bad. It's not like amazing, but it's not terrible. It's kind of just like, okay, primer, you know? Are you guys surprised I'm not using the Dior? But this is a really pretty one too. And it's not as icy as the Dior one. Spraying my face down, I'm gonna use the Estee Lauder Satin Refresh. This one's really good. If you haven't tried it yet, it's bomb. So for lips, I'm going to line my lips with this Pat McGrath lip pencil in the shade Black Coffee. And I've actually been really enjoying this as a lip liner. I kind of fill in my corners when I'm lining my lips. And then I'm gonna use this Jouer lip cream in the shade Noisette. It's a little bit lighter than I would use for my lips, but I have a gloss that I think would top it off really well. And then I'm going in with the Bobbi Brown Crushed Liquid Lip, and I have it in the shade Hot Cocoa. Alrighty guys, so that's pretty much it for today's video. So for the Milk Primer, it was okay. I don't know. Maybe I just need to keep using it some more. It's not that I didn't like it, but it's not that I liked it a lot. Like, it's not that like, oh wow, this is like revolutionary. And if it is a dupe to that, that's a really good dupe because I think the Sicily primer is like almost $200. So that's a very expensive primer. Thank you again to my Makeup Forever family for sponsoring the concealer portion of today's video. Make sure you check out their new Ultra HD Self-Setting Concealer. This concealer really sits beautifully underneath your eyes. It sets itself so you get that really radiant natural finish without having to use powder. You can find the Ultra HD Self-Setting Concealer inside Sephora at Sephora JCPenney's for $28. Make sure you go ahead and swatch them in store though, because the concealer tube is kind of a little bit gray and has a little tint to it. So sorry I was so stuffy in this video. I really hope you guys have enjoyed it anyways. Make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications. Lots of love, and I will see you guys next time. Ow!